Hello, hello, guys. I just want to let you know that this is our first time that we get to do this, and so I am just going to be introducing what we are going to be doing. Okay. All right. So first things first. We are just starting lesson 14. I'm going to split this into a few different parts. So make sure you do everything in part 1 before you go on to part 2, because again, there's things in part 1 that you're going to need to know for part 2. Okay, first things first. So we're learning a new verb this time around, and this time it is going to be aller. And aller is the verb to go. And it is very, very commonly used in French. And so it is just yet another one that we use all the time that you're just going to have to memorize eventually. Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, first one, it is going to be je vais. Je vais, V-A-I-S. Okay, tu form is va, tu vas. So look at it. We take from 4 letters, we drop 1 letter, and we drop down to 3. Okay, and then the il in elle form is going to be il, elle, va. So the tu and the il and the elle form sound the same. Tu vas, il, elle, on va. But again, they're spelled differently. So notice how we go down from 4 letters to 3 letters, down to 2 letters. Okay, so far the first half is je vais, tu vas, il, elle, va. Okay, next half, nous allons. And we've seen that before because usually with ER verbs, we learned back at the beginning of the year that we cut off that ER and we put on the ONS. So this one actually does follow the patterns. Okay, so nous allons. The next one, vous allez. And once again, this one follows the pattern that we take off the ER and we add on the EZ that we normally have for the vous form. Okay, and then the last one is going to be ils, elles, vont. Okay, so let's say them all together. All right, allez, je vais, tu vas, il, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils, elles vont. Okay, je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. And by the way, we do notice a little bit of a Z sound in here on these two just because it starts with an A. Okay, so nous allons, vous allez. We got a little bit of the liaison there. Okay, one more time before we go on. Allez, je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. Okay, let's keep going. Now, remember, when we make sentences negative, you are going to have the ne pas, okay? So, je ne vais pas au stade. Tu ne vas pas au parc. Il ne va pas au cinéma. Elle ne va pas à l'hôpital. Nous n'allons pas à la plage. Nous n'allons pas à la bibliothèque. Ils ne vont pas à la piscine. Elles ne vont pas à l'hôtel. So once again, I have my verbs in yellow, and you can see that we have the ne pas in red. And again, the ne pas goes around that verb. Notice it is all ne, but notice what happens here. It's that an apostrophe because that next word starts with the vowel A, okay? But we don't do the an apostrophe any other time. It is going to stay ne, okay? So ne pas around the verb. Okay, next part. Now, this is the second part of things. So now once that we have established, once that we are doing the verb aller, now we can obviously use them in sentences, okay? Now, this is the second part of things. Now, it has several definitions. It's used a lot in French, but the majority of the time, at or to are the most common, okay? So you can use by itself if you only need to say at or to, but you don't need the. Okay, so we say, je voyage à Paris. I travel to Paris. If we have anything other than there, like the ones we're going to be learning here in these next few slides, it's going to mean to the. And we don't say I travel to the Paris. We just say I travel to Paris, or I'm going to Cleveland, or I'm going to Los Angeles or Boston or whatever, okay? So like I said, cities only, all right? Countries are a little different and they don't use this But if any city you're going to, it's going to be je voyage à Paris. The same thing, if we want to say I live in North Canton or I live in Uniontown, it's j'habite à North Canton or j'habite à Uniontown or j'habite à Akron, or j'habite à Greentown, or wherever you live. Okay. Now, it can also say nous parlons à Louis. Once again, we are talking to Louis. Okay. So we don't say nous parlons au Louis, like we're talking to the Louis. No. It's just we're talking to Louis. So once again, using a by itself can just mean at or to. Okay. Now, but if you do need the, you need to use one of these following contractions. Okay. So if the place you're going to is masculine, that a and the le go together to become o, au. Okay. And it's pronounced like the letter O. Okay. So let me say it again. If the place you are going is masculine, that a, le to the goes together to become O. Now, if the place you're going is a feminine, then the a la is going to stay a la. Okay. That's okay. Now, if the place you're going to is masculine or feminine, but it's still singular and starts with a vowel or an H, it's going to be a l'apostrophe, like à l'hôtel and à l'hôpital and à l'église and à l'école. Okay. If the place you're going to is plural, again, doesn't matter whether it's masculine or feminine, doesn't matter. Okay. That a in the le, we don't say ale. No. They go together to become o, aux. Now, once again, the au and the aux both sound the same, but they're spelled differently. Okay. So the au is going to be the masculine here, and the aux is going to be the plural. So remember, a le, no. It goes together to become o. A le, no. Goes together to become o. So let's look at my examples again from the previous slide. Last slide, we were looking at ale and how to make them negative. Now we're going to look at the same sentences, but looking at them for a different reason. Okay. Now remember, I put it at the top. Masculine singulars o, feminine singulars a la. Singular before a vowel or an H is going to be a l'apostrophe, and plural is going to be o. Okay, so je ne vais pas au stade. I am not going to the stadium. So once again, au stade, because stade is masculine. Okay, tu ne vas pas au parc. Okay, again, parc is masculine, so it's got to be au parc. There's no such thing as à le parc. That's just grammatically incorrect. Tu ne vas pas au parc. Il ne va pas au cinéma. So once again, I'm using more masculine places. That's why, once again, when we learned that vocab for last time, it was so important to remember whether those things are masculine or feminine, because it's going to affect parts of the rest of our sentence. Okay, next one. Elle ne va pas à l'hôpital. So once again, I have given you one where it starts with an H. So because H's work like vowels in French, it is going to be à l'hôpital, à l'apostrophe. Next one, nous n'allons pas à la plage. So now this is the first one where plage is feminine. So that's why it's okay to use à la. Nous n'allons pas à la plage. Now, vous n'allez pas à la bibliothèque. Once again, we learned last lesson that bibliothèque is feminine. So that is why it's always going to be à la bibliothèque. Okay. Ils ne vont pas à la piscine. À la piscine, again, swimming pool is feminine. So again, one more, à la. And our last example, elles ne vont pas à l'hôtel, just like we did up here with hôpital. That a l'apostrophe is in effect because that H is a vowel. Sorry. Okay, now the next one. But these contractions are not just used with places. You can use them anywhere you need to say to the or at the. Once again, if you're using these for the is already there. If you just need the to or at by itself, it's just back to the a by itself. Okay, so je parle au professeur. Okay, so the professeur is not a place, obviously. So this is going to be je parle au professeur. I am talking to the teacher. Il répond à la question. He responds to the question. Once again, a question is not a place, but question is feminine, so it is à la. Il répond à la question. The next one, le prof parle aux étudiants. And again, you can see here, we've got multiple students. So it's the teacher is talking to the students. Okay, so let's just review real fast. Once again, we have the verb aller. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va. Nous allons, vous allez, ils, elles vont. Okay, and then like I said, when we have a by itself, it's going to be to or at. And so that is going to be like je parle à Louis or je vais à Paris, something like that. But then we use these contractions when we need to say to the or at the. Okay, so now we can go ahead and just do the exercises now that go with these. You can do all the ones in Schoology that I have labeled Lesson 14, Part 1. Okay, and that's it.